and welcome back to Sugarfolk Homemade, my podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been crafting. If you are new here, my name is Michaela, and I'm coming to you from a small town in western North Carolina where I live with my husband and our 4 kids. And if you are returning, welcome back. Thank you for your patience. As always, it's been a while since I have recorded anything. Last episode, I told you guys that our foster baby went back home with her mom, and it wasn't 3 weeks later before we got a call for a new placement, which we accepted. So we now have a 1-year-old little girl, and the week she came to us, she started walking. And if you're a parent, you know what I mean when I tell you that this age is really hard. She's into any and everything. She is climbing everything. She has to have eyes on her all the time. So between that phase and then also just having 4 kids in general, I've been a busy woman. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you may know this. A few weeks ago, I guess it's been about a month ago now, I got a severe case of poison ivy. Now, I've had this happen before 3 years ago where I got it really, really bad. I thought it was just a fluke. I did not realize that I had become so intensely allergic to it. I've always been allergic to it, but as a kid, I'd just get the rash and go on about my life. No big deal. That is not what happens now. Now I know that I am just severely allergic. So somehow I got it on the back of my leg, and I didn't know it until it had spread what felt like everywhere. And it looked like the backs of my thighs had just been like burned. All the blisters, everything, swelling. It was misery. So I ended up I was trying to avoid having to take steroids to clear it out, but I ended up having to get a steroid shot, take oral steroids, and take antibiotics because my body treated it like an infection and my legs just swelled up. And it was just crazy. Like, if you looked at it, you wouldn't think that it was poison ivy. You would think that I had something wrong, something very bad. So that was fun. And as soon as I came off of the oral steroids, I started having withdrawals from those, which is very common. And so that's why they taper you off, which I did. And I was only on them for like 5 days, and it was tapered down. But as soon as I ended them, my whole body itched like crazy. And that was it's just annoying to live life completely itchy. But at least my rashes were healing. So that finally stopped. The itching lasted for like 4 or 5 days from that. At this point, it's been like 2 weeks since I got the poison ivy. And then I started to get these sores on my chest, and I thought that I had just scratched myself so much, because honestly, that could have happened. Sorry, being outside is distracting. I keep hearing things, and I think people are here. I thought I had just scratched sores on myself because I was so itchy. But that is not what happened. It was more poison ivy. I have no idea how I got into it. I have stayed so far away from it. It must have been on something in our house or on a piece of clothing. I have no idea. So I got it on my chest real bad. But this time, it's like, I'm not taking these steroids again because they ruined me. So, and this is such a tangent. You can totally skip past this. What I did, in case any of you guys are severely allergic like me, as soon as I realized that it was poison ivy, I scratched it until all the sores were open. And that sounds gross, I know. And then I put rubbing alcohol on them. And it stung really bad, I'm not gonna lie. I had to like do a little dance to keep myself from like panicking because it hurt so bad. But it started to dry it up immediately, and it's been a few days and it's already looking so much better. And like, we skipped the whole blistering process, and I haven't had any severe reactions. So praise God for that. And I if you ever get poison ivy, rubbing alcohol is the trick. Because I tell you, I have tried everything, every wives' tale I've ever heard, everything, and I don't know, none of it works, but this worked for me. So, anyways, it's been a wild spring, and we've been working a lot in the garden. There's bees flying around me right now. And I have some clips of the garden to share with you guys probably at the end of the video, because it is thriving. And I did a little flower garden this year that I'm really excited about. I have some things that are starting to bloom. I have some balloon flowers that are starting to look like little balloons, and they're gonna bloom soon. My dear old Sammy, my 3-year-old, yesterday, he was down there with me and he popped some of them. And that made me really sad. But yeah, he popped all of those, so there's not going to be as many as there would have been, but that's okay. And I have a snapdragon that's about to bloom. It's just exciting. So, anyways, I have a few things to show you. I left some things in the house because some things, there's just not enough progress on them to even mention. Because like I said, or maybe I didn't say, I've not been knitting that much. Yeah, it's just the way life goes sometimes. But I do have 2 finished objects, and let's see, 1, 2, 3 new cast-ons, and I do have some acquisitions to share as well. So we'll jump right in, but first I'm going to take a sip of my protein drink while it's still somewhat cold. Okay, the first finished object is my ranunculus. She's all done, and I love, love, love this pattern. I understand what all the hype is about now. The pattern is so easy and so mindless, and you get a beautiful pattern, or a beautiful garment when you're finished. I chose the short sleeve version, obviously. I didn't realize that if I wanted to go back in and add a little length or ribbing on the sleeves, that I would have needed to have chosen the long sleeve version. I didn't realize that at the time, so I mean, I should have just thought about it, but so you basically just cast off the sleeves and then they're done and you keep going. But it's not a big deal. I love it the way it is. This only took me like 440 yards, I believe, of DK weight. I don't remember what needles I used because it's been a while, but I did mention it in the last episode. And it was a local yarn store yarn, nothing that I'll be able to get again. And it's baby alpaca. There's a little bit of creasing in it, but yeah, I've worn it a few times and I love it. It's getting a little too warm to wear it now because it is very warm, but it's very soft, and I honestly really, really enjoy this looser gauge, and I'm excited to make a sweater version of this come fall and winter. So that is my ranunculus. She's a beaut. And I don't remember what size I made either. I could have looked at all these things before, but I wasn't even planning on filming today. I just kind of had a second, so. And I could be interrupted because my oldest Porter is inside with the baby. She is in the playpen with some toys, and he's keeping an eye on her, but I may have to run out at any time. So that's my ranunculus. The next finished object that I have is my Color Craze shawl. And I used my Advent yarns from Christmas time for this. I've showed you guys it before. I have not blocked it yet, I don't think. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I have not. But I'll get to that eventually. But she's all done. This thing is so long. I feel like it might be taller than me, actually. I mean, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. that's really what I like about it, because you can really wear it so many different ways. And I think how I will wear it, I haven't got a chance to wear it yet because it's been hot. But I think when I can wear it, I'll wear it like this. Wrapped around and then tied. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. I'm wearing a me-made apron over my dress today. I think I've shown this before. It has little pleated pockets and it has a little tie in the back. This is just a little apron dress I made a few years ago. It's a Dottie Angel Simplicity pattern. I've mentioned it in a podcast a long time ago, but I wear this thing all the time. It's kind of fallen apart, and I didn't do that great of a job on it, but I love it. Anyways, yeah, so I really, really like the way this shawl turned out. You can see there's a lot of brioche, a lot of garter, some little eyelets. It's very squishy, but it's also just very light and, I don't know, very cozy. I'm excited to get to wear this year. And I really like all these colors together. I don't think I'll have trouble matching that with my clothes. So that is finished. Now, I'm going to show you my favorite new cast on first. And I don't know what time it is, but I do know I'm short on time, so I might fly through these. Okay, so I feel like everybody knows this pattern by now. This is the Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. Let me see if I can show you the picture. This thing is going to be massive. This is a long-term project. I am using leftovers from my Advent and miscellaneous fingering weights that I've used for like socks or just random things that did not obviously need a whole skein. So far, and I really need to put this on a bigger cord, but I don't have one at the moment. So we're just gonna have to use your imagination for how big it is. But I started with the yellow, and we've got some pink and like a lilac color. I mean, we're at 576 stitches at the moment. So, I mean, it's really hard to show you how big it is, but I would think it's probably like this big at the moment. I don't know. It's pretty big, and each row takes me a long time, and it's only gonna get bigger and take more time, but that's okay. I just think it's really pretty, and I think it's gonna be a fun throw to just have in the house. And I'm using recommended needles, which is a size 6. The air conditioner just turned off, and now it feels so quiet. Okay, the next one is a pattern I've been wanting to do forever, and I talked about it last time, but I changed which yarns I decided to use. So I don't even remember what I had picked, but this is The Shift by Andrea Mowry. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. And so far, this is how much I've got so far. It's almost time to switch main colors. So the main color through here was the purple. It's almost time to switch, which I'm really excited about. So the colors that I'm using, these are all like different weighted yarns, but sometimes I just don't care. And it's working out fine. So I have a Zauberball, which I think is a fingering weight. And then this is left over from my Pressed Flowers cardigan. It's a DK weight. And then just a I believe this is Morocco, maybe Cloudborn, I don't remember. Sport weight. And this actually has some red and blue in it. I don't know if you can see that. But I thought this was a pretty pairing. And both of these change color, obviously. So I just thought it would be really fun. And I can't wait to, when the main color changes, I can't wait to see how the colors play with each other. Now, needle size, I hope I wrote it down because it's been a while since I've picked this up. And I don't have the needles on it. I think it's the recommended needles, which I believe is a 5. That's what the end product looks like, if you're curious. Okay, it's a size 5, and I think that's what I'm using. Very excited about that. It's a very addictive pattern to work on. I finished that section very quickly. I just haven't picked it up recently. And this is in this little crazy kitty bag that a subscriber sent me. And let's see. Like I said, I'm flying through these because we have to leave in a little bit to take the baby to a visit. So, okay, the next one I'm gonna show you guys is a pair of socks that I started specifically because of a yarn that was sent to me, and I just loved it so much I had to start something. So I already have a different pair of socks going, but I needed to start a new one. So this is the Midsummer Blossoms pattern by This Handmade Life, I believe. So the pattern comes with 2 different options. I'm making this pair right here, and the yarn, let me show you the yarn first. It was a, oh no! For a second I thought that was about to roll off the deck. So this is such a springy yarn. This is, it's white, but it has a lot of like lilacs and lavenders and greens. So the green with this really makes the green pop. And this is Nora George yarns. Got bugs all over me. In the color Jane Eyre. And like I said, as soon as I opened this, I was like, okay, casting on with this immediately. And so far, I have a little bit of an ankle sock. This is what I've got so far. I just love that detail. So I did a 64 stitch, but when I went to do the decreases, I decreased down to 60. Because I do sometimes have an issue with the foot being just a little bit too loose. But these are 2.5 millimeters, and these are just my sock needles. I have smaller needles, but this is what I like to knit my socks on. So there's a bug in my hair. Okay, it's gone. So I just always use these and just kind of modify as I go. So 60 stitches around the foot should be fine. If they're a little bit baggy, it's totally fine. I'll still wear them if I ever finish them. I'm sure I will. I am not a prolific knitter. I'm sure you guys have picked up on that by now. But it's all good. It's all good. And I'm keeping this in probably my favorite project bag that I have. This is by Jessalyn Janice. She sent me this around Christmas time, and I just love it. I love anything vintagey, so I'll link her shop below. Now the next one is not a new cast on, but last time I showed you guys there was hardly any progress on it at all. This is the Pressed Flowers cardigan. And I have finally started on the color work, because last time I think I was still just on the bottom ribbing. This is risky. There's no needles on this, and it's getting pretty close to the end of the cord. Okay. I'm not going to stretch it out all the way because I don't want to lose stitches. But I've almost got one row of flowers complete. I love these yarns. These are, the gray is a Spin Cycle, and what was the green again? I forgot. Barocco Lana's Light, and they're just so soft. This is one I'm really excited to wear when the seasons change again, back to fall. Hopefully I'll have it done by then. Very pretty. I will say the Pressed Flowers pattern, even in the shawl, which I had made previously, the chart can be very confusing because you're not always knitting and you're not always purling on either side. It changes sometimes, so you have to really pay attention to the chart with this. When I was doing the shawl, I actually had someone reach out to me who had done the whole chart and had done it wrong, and she was very upset and like asking for help, and I said, listen, if you like the way that yours came out, just leave it. I would not redo it, because it is a little bit confusing, but it's more of just attention to each row you're working on, and it's not mindless at all, is what I'm trying to say. Once you get in the flow of each row, it can be, but figuring out each row on its own is a little tricky, or at least it was for me. I have to really think about it. It's not something I can decipher when all the kids are around me and distracting. So that's all my new cast-ons and what has progress on it. I'm still working on my Freesia cardigan very slowly. I'm almost finished with the body of that. And I am still working on my tulip blanket, which I wanted to have done for spring. That's not going to happen. I have made some progress on it, but not much. And my muscle burr hat, that's basically in hibernation at this point. And I think I have another pair of socks. I do have another pair of socks. I don't even know where I'm at with those. I haven't picked them up in a while. I've basically just been working on, like the past couple weeks, I've been working on the Anthology throw and my Freesia cardigan. So I do have some yarn to show. Excuse me. So, a very generous and kind subscriber last year had asked me if she could send me a sock yarn a month, like it's almost like one of the sock clubs, but it was just for me. And it feels weird to accept such generous offers, and because I can never really express how grateful I am for you guys and just how generous you guys are. And I don't ever want to come off as like, I don't know, like braggy or anything like that. But anyways, I told her, okay, fine, and she said, listen, you can, when your kids are older, you can bless another young mom. And I said, that's what I'll do. Okay, so she has been sending me yarn every month, and I feel like I missed one when I brought them out here, but I'm gonna show you what I did bring. And the socks that I showed you guys, that yarn was from her. That might have been the latest one from, what month even is it? Now is June, so that might have been May's. I can't remember, but I do know this one was February's. This is Nanette Wake Studio in the color Tainted Love. There was another mini skein with this, but I think I used it. I think I'm using it in the Anthology throw. It was just pink, I believe. But look how beautiful this is. I don't know how to make this focus. If I touch it, will it focus? I mean, this is just beautiful. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with all of these fingering weights. I could always, make socks with each of them, which I'll probably do with a lot of them. But I kind of want to use them all for one project, or at least some of them for one project, and just have all the different colors. I'm a big fan of color. And then we have, this is from Less Traveled Yarn, Take a Hike. This also had a mini with it, which I don't know where it is. It's probably in the throw. A very beautiful green. It's got some neon in there, but there's some spots where it even has some yellow. Very beautiful. And these are all 75/25, I believe. Superwash merino. Yeah. And nylon. And then this one, I think this was the most recent one. This is Legacy Fiber Arts Woodland Shenanigans. And this is very pretty. Oh my gosh, just look at those colors. I love this. And this is catching my eye right here, this little section. Beautiful. And of course it's got the little mini with it. I could see myself making a shawl with this and another yarn that may go well with that. I don't know. The options are limitless. And I don't have it yet, but my sister-in-law was at a thrift store this morning and she found some 50-gram balls of wool. It's like a baby pink creamy color for $2 each, and there was a ton of them. So I had her grab me 10, and that should be enough for me to make some sort of pullover sweater situation come fall and winter. So yeah, that's all I've got for today. It's not a ton, but I've been really itching I've literally been itching to get back on here and talk to you guys, because I hate going so long without filming, because one, I just miss talking to you guys. Two, I can't remember what I talked about in the last episode. I could go back and watch it, but I don't have time. Speaking of time, I have not been watching things. I have so many videos to catch up on. I follow a lot of other podcasters and I love to watch them, but I'm so behind. And then when I get behind, I feel overwhelmed by how many I need to watch to catch up. The struggle. And three, I feel out of practice. I feel like I say 700 times and I miss certain things. I don't know. Sorry, scratching. I have a little bit of ivy on my arm too, which it doesn't look so bad on camera. It really doesn't look that bad. It's nothing compared to what's on my leg. Which, by the way, so many of you personally messaged me on Instagram when the whole poison ivy thing was going on, and a lot of you had lots of tips and just lots of prayers, and I wanted to thank you guys for that, because it was a hard couple weeks trying to, I felt sick many of the days, and I had a low fever of about 100 for a few days, because, like I said, my body was treating it like an infection. It wasn't actually infected, I don't think, because it didn't look like it. I don't know, my body's response to it was just bizarre. Okay, I'll be in there in just a second. Okay, the kids are waking up, and it's almost time for us to leave. So, this was a short one, only 30 minutes. That might be my shortest one yet. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, even though it was quick and, short and sweet. But I do see myself really getting back into my knitting here soon. We're starting to get into more of a routine with our new foster, and the garden is done and it's thriving. So yeah, hopefully I can knit some more soon. And this is perfect timing to end because the neighbors are mowing the grass. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks for sticking around, and happy crafting. Bye.